How's it going, everyone? Alninio here, and today we're starting our counterplay series on how to deal with every champion in League of Legends in the mid lane as Katarina versus all. So we're going to be doing 6 champions per episode, but as a first episode, as a special first episode, we're going to do 7 champions instead, including Bran in the end. Right here, you can see all the champions we're going to be including in this episode. And we're also going to be including what runes to go, this rune page, or this rune page. So I'm going to explaining that, and I'm also going to explaining starting items and finishing that starting item. And why you would want to get this first starting item against these champions. Let's begin first with Ahri. Keep in mind these episodes will be 30 minutes long, 20 minutes long. Not really going to be edited much, just edited here and there, so it's going to be pretty huge. So I suggest y'all chill back. Before we begin, by the way, I just want to inform everyone that I have had a lot of experience with the rework Katarina. I have dealt with a lot of these champions, and I have the knowledge of Katarina, and I know how to deal with them. Basically what I'm trying to say is, I'm not talking out of my ass in any shape or form. This is solid stuff right here. We're going to get deep into it right now. Number 1, Ahri. As we all know, Ahri has really good wave clear with her Q, and she has one single target charm that could cancel your Death Lotus. Keep in mind, Ahri is extremely mobile. She has 3 dashes and a flash. Your rune page against Ahri would be this. I'll explain it in detail real quick. Sinister Blade versus AP. Okay, we have 2 rune pages. I'm gonna put my finger down here because you can't see me, but here it is. Just to main focus on this, 9 AD marks, 9 health per level seals, full magic pen glyphs, 1 magic pen quint, and 2 AP quints. This will give you precisely 7.7 magic penetration with a decent amount of AP, because you need that early AP. The reason you want to go with that magic pen in that 1 quint is to get exactly 7.7, which is the same as you would get in full magic pen reds. So in Magic Pen Reds it's 7.8, but you only lose out on 0.1 Magic Pen, which is completely fine. The AP really helps you as well, so you want the AP, right? You can't miss out on the AP. And the reason we go AD marks is because we rush Gunblade, and Gunblade's an amazing item on Katarina in the rework Cat. So this is our starting item. Longsword, Health Pot into Gunblade. From here, you can decide what you need in this situation, right? Whatever item you build here is completely up to you. There is no one-way build, right? There's only ways to build based on the situation. So let's say I was snowballing against Ahri, I would buy a Luden. Luden's amazing because it has 100 charges and it adds to your burst. Luden one-shots people. So you want to go Luden after Gunblade if you're snowballing like crazy. Let's say you're not having a good time and you're struggling in lane and you find that it's really rough to get shit done. You're getting punished by that Fiddle gank along with the Ahri combination. You get an Abyssal Scepter because Fiddle is really fucking annoying, and I'm sure we all know that. Fiddle is extremely obnoxious and he gets shit done. That's why you always want to keep warding against Fiddlesticks junglers. Now let's say you're doing okay but you're not snowballing. Like you have good CS, your KDA is average, right? Let's say 5-5, your 5 kills, 5 deaths. Rylai is cheap and it's really good. So you have 3 decisions to make. Buy a Luden if you're 100% snowballing, like 5-0 or 7-0, 4-0, and you're confident that you can kick everyone's ass. Get Luden. You're not doing well, let's say, in terms of gold income, and you want something quick, something cheap, something that's really good, get Rylai. You're doing okay in farm here, but you need something ASAP. Get a Rylai. Third item, you know, it would be Abyssal. If you feel like I said, if you feel like you're threatened against that Ahri, if you feel like you're threatened against that Fiddlesticks, go for the Abyssal. How to deal with Ahri in lane? Wait for her cooldowns is the best way to deal against Ahri. If she clears her wave with Q, that leaves her vulnerable for a few seconds, because Q is her main source of damage. All Ahri players would max Q. I've never in my life seen an Ahri player that would not max Q. If she uses Q on a wave, punish her. To punish properly, you E, basic attack, Q, W, wait for the W to land on the dagger, take the spin, the Q dagger that you threw, E on that, get another spin. What she can do is charm you, W. And you could potentially get ganked, so you need to be careful of that. But the main thing to do with Katarina is to take advantage of certain situations. There are certain gaps that are presented to you that not many players see. The simple wave clear of Ahri using Q on a wave leaves her vulnerable. Hella vulnerable. Keep in mind, we're talking about pre-level 5 stuff right here. Like pre-level 6. This is before your ultimate. Even if you get ulti, you can still do this, because Ahri's wave clear becomes more substantial as the game progresses. But it doesn't mean Cat's wave clear is not good either. Right? You can wave clear against that. The only issue is when you wave clear with Cat, you put yourself in these insane positions. Right? Let's say I Q a wave, and then I Shumpo, and all of a sudden I'm in this position of... It's a shitty position to be in. Right? Because you're in the middle of the wave. Let's say you Q, because the way the Q goes back 420 units. You put yourself in that position, boom. Ahri punishes you for doing that. And especially since your Shumpo is on higher cooldown early, you want to be careful from doing that. When she shoves lane and you don't have any more minions, be careful how you wave clear. Just understand the fact that she has extremely good wave clear. And don't try to risk things. I want to, by the way, real quick, apologize for the sunlight in the background. I did not want this planned. This sucks. So I'm very sorry about that if it's too annoying for you guys. I'm sorry. My bad. I didn't plan this. Sun's OP. Right? Fucking Leona. Ruining my video and shit. So that's how you would typically go around laning phase against Ahri. Keep in mind, she has 3 dashes from her ultimate. So she's extremely mobile, right? 3 dashes. And it's on low cooldown in the late game because she buys cooldown reduction. So she has a shit ton of cooldown. Keep in mind, when you're against Ahri and you're trying to play aggressive and you know she has charm, always do not try to full combo her when she has charm. Like, it's only blatantly obvious that you wouldn't do that. One thing you could try to do is put yourself in a situation where she would charm you. We're still talking about laning phase here, and in team fights, this applies to both. You put yourself in a situation where she wants to charm you. It's possible to charm you. So what you want to do against that is Shumpo behind her, WQ, and hopefully she would have charmed in the position that you initially Shumpo'd. If she doesn't, when you Shumpo on her, move to the right or move to the left to avoid the charm completely. Do not press R in this situation just yet. Only when she throws the charm, press R. Then full combo, right? Full combo completely. So you want to be careful. She also has 3 dashes, so she can escape your ulti range very easily. So whenever she doesn't have ult, you also have an advantage. Like, the main thing here, what I'm trying to say is, with Katarina, you want to punish cooldowns. You want to punish these vulnerabilities that enemies have. Not every player would see these vulnerabilities, but you should see them. I mean, they are right in front of your eyes. You just didn't take that action that you should have taken. That's really what it comes down to, is for you to take action in the situation. With Katarina, it's all about punishing your enemy from doing dumb shit. It's not always the case because the enemies will not always be dumb. So for example, a good Ahri player would clear the wave with Q and then back out. When she sees you trying to walk up to her, she's gonna walk back. Right? This is a smart Ahri player. So you'd have to assume that the player would not be stupid, right? But some players, even the good ones, would actually stick around. So you can punish that still. Just don't be afraid to play aggressive in lane. Plus, you have a longsword start, and you have AD marks. Do not be afraid to basic attack. Also, I would like to additionally say that her passive, Katarina's passive, AD is really good early. Much better than her AP. Her AP ratios on her Sinister Steel early is pretty weak. That's why you want to go longsword start with Katarina. You could go Dark Seal. There's nothing wrong with Dark Seal. 100%. No. great item. It works, it's fantastic, it gives you AP, gives you the healing, gives you the sustain, it's good. It has 25% increased healing from potions, fantastic, right? Great item. But Longsword gives you more aggression. And auto-attacking early is really good, especially with AD marks. You have extra AD damage from the Longsword as well. Plus your spins would do a lot of damage in the early game as well. So that's why I'd go Longsword start against Ahri. From there, you just want to, you know, surpass this laning phase, use these methods to try and beat her. It's obviously not easy, but it's manageable. It's a manageable laning phase. It's a manageable, even in team fight-wise, it's manageable. Just always remember, when an enemy saves their cooldown, for whatever reason, it's most likely the reason to get rid of you. Let's say you're like incredibly snowballing and people want to get at you, like this Ahri for example. She wants to charm you because you've been really fucking up shit around her team, right? You've been roaming bot lane, you've been roaming top lane, you're shitting on everyone, right? This is where you wanna, in team fights, really be careful from her shit. But it's not as dangerous because it is a skill shot in one line. This really means a lot in laning phase. Like for example, a Vi ult is 1,000 times more threatening than an Ahri charm. So keep that in mind. But it's something to keep in mind. Just try not to get charmed when you're trying to full combo. And choose your enemies. Choose your enemies wisely. That's all I gotta say. Okay, so that's that for Ahri. As you can see, her name is crossed out. Next up, Akali. Nothing major about Akali. She's actually not one of the toughest mid laners to deal with, only because of the fact that she's not exactly a popular mid laner, but it's still worth mentioning. You'll have some Akali players here and there. Akali, just keep in mind, things to keep in mind during laning phase. Actually, first we will talk about the runes, sorry. Against Akali, you want to go for the same runes as Ahri, and I don't think I'm going to repeat the explanation. The exact same runes, right here in front of you. Plus, you will go Longsword, Hellpot, and once again, Gunblade. Same thing. Start Longsword, go Gunblade. One thing to keep in mind is, against Akali, try not to get Q basic attacked early. I mean, this is so blatantly obvious, and people make this mistake even against Lux players. I'm gonna mention Lux real quick because there's a similarity between Lux and Akali with their basic attacks. If Lux Qs you or E's you, I'm gonna ask you guys a question. What does Lux do when she has passive on you? Right? She E's you, she lands the E. What's the next thing that this Lux player will do? Give you 5 seconds to think about it. Okay? Exactly. She will basic attack you. She wants to proc her passive to get extra damage. So, what do? You walk back. It's that easy. You walk back. So this is the thing you want to do against Akali. She Qs you. What does this Akali want to do? She wants to basic attack you. Don't let her. That's it. Yes, it's on a short cooldown, but you'll be fine. There's no issue there. It's manageable. You can avoid it by just walking back. So that's how you would deal against an Akali Q. Alright? So this typically would happen, you know, in the early stages of the game. Like, she tries to poke at you when you're trying to last hit the CS. When you're trying to walk up the last hit it, she just Qs you, and then tries to basic attack you. Just try not to get basic attacked. Avoid that. Her Q's on really short cooldown early as well, so she's just gonna keep throwing. Just never give her the chance to do something. If it's you're walking up close, don't take the risk. You can punish her at level 2. If she throws a Q and the Q finishes, you can punish her. Shampoo on her, basic attack, Q, and then try to get a spin down. Don't be afraid to take action against Akali. You have a longsword. And you have good AD damage early. It's manageable. You can deal with Akali. She's not a problem. Keep in mind you can use your ulti during her W Shroud. Overall, not a very tough matchup, but don't underestimate it. Never underestimate your enemies, ever. Even Akali. Always pay attention to the fact that she may have a chance to beat you if you do stupid shit. And the same otherwise. Same thing with her. If she does stupid shit, you win. So try to avoid doing stupid shit, right? So try not to get poked too much with basic attacks, Q basic attacks. Keep in mind, once she gets level 6, she's a lot more aggressive. But you out-trade her, to be honest. I mean, you're Katarina, you're so strong, it's crazy. Like, you just W on the spot and then R. Watch her fuck off. Watch her fuck off. If she wants to play all in, R, Q, basic attack, WR. Watch her fuck off the lane. So once you get the spin, Q her, and as she's running off, E on the dagger, spin, and then continue with basic attacks. Don't be afraid to basic attack. Always basic attack. You can also do the basic attack E, basic attack, animation cancel of your auto attack. It will do like that. It's like, this is the best way I can describe it. It's like you basic attack, it's like very quickly. It's very quick animation. So you want to do that. You want to get rid of them and try to do as much damage as possible in the least amount of time as possible. AEA is a very common thing with Katarina now. That's really it during laning phase. In team fights, she's not that much of a threat. Her team would be more threatening because she's really just not that threatening. She has nothing to cancel your ult. And yes, if it's a fed Akali, that's a different story. She will be threatening. Just keep in mind. Deal with her in laning phase, you'll be fine. She's not a problem. Manageable laning phase. A-OK. Perfecto. So now, Akali crossed out. Moving next to Anivia. Anivia, the runes you want to go, exactly the same. I'm going to show it again for your inconvenience. Just to be clear. Same runes. Okay. Longsword Sword, Health Pot, and Gunblade. This would typically be always the way to go, because this is core on Cat. Since you go AD marks, you absolutely want Gunblade. And from there, you can decide whatever you want. Like I said earlier, with Abyssal and Rylai and Luden, depending on the situation. If you snowball your lane, kick ass, get Luden, yeah, it's just how it is. Like I said earlier, when I was talking about Ahri. In those situations, you want to build accordingly. So, there's that. Against Anivia, of course we all know her egg is pretty annoying. Her egg completely denies you a reset, period. Gets rid of your reset. So, always what you should do is left click Anivia. All the time. All the time. Check. She has passive? Let your jungler know. Does she have egg or not? Let your jungler know. Always. This is during laning phase. You want to watch out for that. That's like #1 priority against Anivia. If you kill her and you don't know if you're going to get a reset or not, you're doing something wrong. So what you do is check if she has passive. Period. It's really that simple. Alright, that's one thing. During laning phase, you want to watch out for her. The frost icicle orb that flies out, right? She stuns you with it, then she eases you with it, and it's a shit ton of damage. But, thankfully, her E has been nerfed way back, right? So, but still does good damage, but it's a lot less more threatening. It's manageable to some extent. She's still a threat, you know, don't get me wrong, she's still a threat. However, her early game is pretty horrendous. Her early game, you can punish her so easily early game. Just one thing, if you get ganked early while you do this, it's gonna be real rough, because Anivia has egg, you can't always get at her. Never ignite Anivia when she has egg. Do not do it. Doesn't matter, do not do it. Only ignite her after egg form. Because even if the ignite bursts her down, she just turns into an egg, you just wasted your summoner spell. Right? It's not worth it. It's just not. So only ignite her after egg form. Things to watch out for, her wall can actually cancel your ultimate. So if you stand still and you press R, she puts the wall, your R gets cancelled. Right? So you want to be careful from that. However, you can play around it and be smart about it. You can E, basic attack her, WQ, and then she puts the wall to cancel your ult, get the reset on your W that lands, and then shampoo on the Q dagger that you threw, and there you go. You got out of that situation and you kept at her. But her stun That's the thing you want to worry about. Her stun. Her stun will completely fuck you up. She puts a stun, and then she puts the carpet on the ground, and then she throws shit at you, right? It's pretty rough. It's pretty rough to deal with that. So how do you deal with it? Again, punish cooldowns. Let's say you walked up the last hit a minion, right? You walked up the last hit it. Okay. You walk up, basic attack minion to last hit. She throws out her her Q, her frost, to stun you. The first thing you do is avoid it, dodge it, either by shampooing on a minion, on her minion to get close to her, or by walking back and then shampoo directly on her if she gets too close. Punish her Qs. That's the one thing you want to do against Anivia. And always watch out for her ulti. Once she gets level 6, she has really good wave clear, and it's so easy for her to wave clear, push lane. Always watch out. Even against Ahri. When Ahri pushes the wave and you're stuck under your turret to farm, Ahri can actually hit you even when you're on the turret. She could just, you try to last hit a minion, throw a Q. You try to last hit this minion, I will charm you, I will full combo you. Right? Same thing with Anivia. If she pushes lane like that and you try to walk up the last hit, all these little minions, I know every Katarina player must have went through shit like that. That experience of not being able to see S under turret because your enemy is just standing there being an asshole and poking damage at you as you're trying to farm. It's pretty annoying. I totally get it, right? It's frustrating. You could never get that minion. So what do you do in this situation like that? You want to be careful and just try to hit the minions with Q. If you see her, just pretend you're going to last hit a minion. Pretend. Okay, just walk to it and then quickly walk back. She's going to throw that ability, and then here's what you can do. You can punish her if she tries to go for another poke, because that cooldown now, that ability is on cooldown. So if, let's say Anivia threw her stun as you're trying to last hit a minion, you dodge it. Let's say she walks back because she wants to R you now. She wants to R. Jump on her. Jump on her. You destroy her. You completely destroy her, because in this situation she does not have Q and she used her ulti on the turret side because she wanted to hit you. So she has to press R again to cancel her R and to put it again on you. So you give her less time to do shit. Or she's like, oh shit, I didn't plan this. I don't want this to happen. You want Anivia players to think like that, right? So this is where you completely shit on her. Even if she has egg, you can still ulti her. Even if she had egg there, punish her. Just force her to recall. Force her, just get her out of there. Right? You want to be oppressive lane. You want control. So that's what you would typically do against Anivia. In team fights, late game team fights, she's always going to be annoying with her egg. However, with your team, you can coordinate. You can deal with the situation. It's no problem. Other than that, there are other better targets to pick, like the AD carry or the Zyra support. Zyra support's so easy to kill. Pick these targets. Be smart about it. Don't go in when Anivia's egg is up. Don't full combo when Anivia's egg is up in the late game, because those get crucial. And yeah, if she's by herself though, you can full combo her, but you want to be careful. Late game, it really depends on so many things that it's hard to really pin it down, because it really depends on the situation, depends on your comp, it depends on so many things. But this is how you typically would deal with Anivia in a game, in laning phase and in team fights. The standard way of dealing with it. So that's it for Anivia. So Anivia, right here, jot it out. Next up is Annie, and Annie, against her, you want to go the same runes. I'm not gonna re-explain again. Like I said, not gonna re-explain, just the same runes. Okay. Start with longsword, hellpots, and finish gunblade. After that, you could go abyssal because it's Annie. Annie is a burst champion. Annie's a burst AP mage. She's very strong and she puts a lot of damage. So there's nothing wrong with going abyssal here. You could go Rayleigh, you could go Luden if you're snowballing. If the Annie is just shit, you could absolutely go for Luden. If it's a decent Annie, you could go Rayleigh or abyssal. These are two good options after gunblade against an Annie player. Typically, you would go, abyssal here, because it's Annie and her damage is obnoxious, but it's not a must. You can go Rayleigh. Oh, I wanted to do this and middle finger. All right. What was I saying now? Oh yeah, sorry, Rayleigh. You could go Rayleigh if you feel like you don't need the Amar and you can deal damage and you're okay. You can absolutely go for that. There's nothing wrong with Rhyhlight. It's a great item. It kicks ass, and it's cheap. That's the thing that attracts players to Rhyhlight, because it's cheap. It's so easy to pick up, and it's so easy to farm for it, and there's no issue with that. So you can go Rhyhlight here as well. Alright, so that's that for the items and the runes. Now I guess Annie during laning phase, you want to watch out for her stun. Again, same thing. Always left click Annie or check on her character herself to see the spinning thing on her, right? Because Riot implemented the system where you can just see Annie's stun stacks under her mana bar. So it's really nice, a good addition. So you don't always have to left click the Annie to see how many stun stacks she has. The best way to deal with Annie is to punish that. See, like once again, you see how I'm always emphasizing punishment, and when I say punishment, it's like taking advantage of a situation that's presented to you. This applies not to even just League of Legends. I'm going to talk here about this real quick. This applies to fighting games in like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter. You punish your enemies for attempting to do something to you. Okay, I'm going to give a quick example. In Mortal Kombat, Scorpion, you guys know Scorpion, right? He throws his spear, he misses. What's the first thing you do against that? You punish him, right? Because it leaves him vulnerable as he's doing an animation. It leaves him vulnerable so he can be punished. Same thing here. Punish Annie's stun. Taking advantage of this punishment will be huge for you. It will just be amazing for you. That's what you want to do with Katarina. So Annie doesn't have, let's say, the first thing you want to do is against Annie, watch her stacks, okay? If it's full stacks, don't go on her. Wait for her to use it on a minion. Try not to get too close, because she can flash ulti you like this, and you will just go poof. You'll be gone. And there's going to be enemy gank coming in, and they're going to do things to you, and it's not going to be fun. So you want to be careful from that. Flash R Annie is incredibly threatening. So if you see her try to walk up close to you, instantly jump back to your minion, or just walk back. If there's no minions around, just walk back, because you know she wants to play aggressive on you. Just constantly pay attention to her movement when she has full stacks on stun. Now, so, you know, this is you. Alninio, when should I attack Annie? When's the perfect time for that? That's the perfect time. When she uses the stun on a minion, this leaves her vulnerable and she cannot cancel your Death Lotus. This is where you can play aggressive. This is when you can go all in. Now, pre-level 6, of course she wouldn't have tippers, so it's a little bit more manageable. But the one thing is, guys, you want to be careful. When Annie uses her shield, she gets extra magic resistance, extra defense stats. That's something to keep in mind. What you can do is wait for that to finish, wait for her to use that one ability. Let's say she uses it at one point to, you know, up her stacks, right? You can punish that. Right? That can actually be punished. Let's say she just used her stun on a minion. Now she has 0 stun stacks. Now she used her shield and Q, right? Shield and Q to hit a minion. Or sorry, let's say she just used her E to increase her stacks, just randomly, okay? She used her Q to kill a minion with a stun, okay? Now she just used E, first stack of stun. Now 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it. The shield finishes, and she has only 1 stack. So now this is where you all in her. She doesn't have extra defense stats. That shit's on cooldown, and furthermore she used her Q on a minion earlier. Sure, she won't have her Q until after a few seconds after the shield runs out. So you probably still get Q'd, but you're gonna not get stunned. That's the thing, okay? Think about it. She used E, Q 2 stacks, W 3 stacks, and let's say she has ult. But in this case she doesn't have ult. Let's say it's pre-level 6, but let's say if she does have ult, boom. That's 4 stacks on Annie. Plus, she didn't use the 4th stack at all. So you're good. Typically this would be, you know, pre-level 6, but it can also be done after level 6. So that's something to keep in mind. You can also play aggressive against her even if she has the E on top of her, but just keep in mind that you'll do less damage by a little bit. But it's always ideal to punish her when she doesn't have the stun. Like, that's the best way to deal with it. Even if she didn't use E, that's the best way to deal with it, because not all Annie players are gonna use E on their first stack, okay? So, but, you know, just something to think about. Even in team fights, watch for her E. Don't try to all-in Annie when she has her E up. Try to focus other people, right? Even in team fights. Just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. It's very important. Okay, so next up is Aurelion Sol. Right, so I guess Aurelion. This is the rune page you want to go. Same as before. This is a versus AP rune page. Standard, I'd always go for this on the Katarina. Okay, so there's that. Longsword, health pot, and gunblade. Again, same thing. And I would typically go Luden here, because most of the time I do end up snowballing like crazy against Aurelion. Or, if you don't end up snowballing, you can go Rylai. I don't think you need Abyssal that badly against Aurelion, because he is not a burst AP assassin, and he has good wave clear, he has good damage, yes, but most of the time I feel like I'm better off with damage, because I'm Katarina, right? I'm not pussy bitch, right? I'm a badass. I'm a badass Noxian assassin. I can get shit done everywhere, right? So you want to get that damage. So typically you can go Rylai here, or you could go Luden's Echo. Completely up to you. So, Aurelion. What's the first thing you want to watch out for during laning phase? Is his balls. His balls of doom and death, right? He activated, tries to poke you with it. Overall, it's not that threatening. I mean, yeah, ooh, balls, right? You know, fucking balls. I'm not scared of balls, alright? So there's no big deal there. It's Aurelion. Sure, it will poke you a little bit here. Just walk back, right? When Aurelion uses that, the best thing to do is actually jump on him. That's actually the best way. Because what he wants you to do is walk outside of his radius so that he hits you with the circle, right? The best thing to do after he does that is all in him. He'll have to cancel it, and it will be on a small radius instead. And he's gonna have to like walk back to try and hit you with it. You can just all in him right there. Keep in mind though, he can stun you. So the best way to deal with Aurelion during lane, he fails a stun on you, and then he uses Q to try and poke at you. This is the best thing that can happen. Like, perfect situation. He missed stun, and he uses his ball ability. I don't know which button it is on, but he uses his ball ability to try and hit you as you're walking out. Shumpo on him directly, basic attack, QWR. Perfect, because he can do nothing. He just missed his stun, and you're in a good situation to fight him there. So that was like a perfect harass situation right there. It may not kill him, but you're gonna punish him, force him out of lane, allow you to push lane, and then you can roam. So this is the best way to punish Aurelion. Other than that, if he does push lane and you're under your turret, be careful. When you try to basic attack, he could try to stun you and then poke you with his Q and basic attacks. Dodging his R is manageable to some extent. You can actually shumpo behind him using, you know, the mouse. You can shumpo behind the enemy, or in front, or in left, or in right, so you can choose where to shumpo. So if you time it right, you can shumpo just behind him, and you avoid the R damage. Now the cool thing is, when you full combo Aurelion, let's say he doesn't have stun, he just has R to push you away, right? So you go on him, E, basic attack, Q, W, right here. Once the W lands, you can predict that he's gonna R, okay? So don't press Death Notice yet. Let's say at this point you predict he's going to ult. He has the mana for it, and he has no reason not to use it because you can kick his ass, right? You're a lot stronger than him. Uses R, pushes you back, get the W reset, and then shumpo on the Q reset, and then R. And that's perfect, right? He's nothing. He has no stun, and he has no ult. What's he gonna do? He's gonna eat that damage. He's gonna eat it like a bitch, and there's nothing he can do about it. He's just gonna eat it. So you can be smart about it. Don't just all in on press R instantly. You can wait for his R, grab the W reset, and then grab the Q reset that you threw on him. So just make sure you actually get the Q off, because otherwise you can't follow him and get a Sinister Steal. Because you want that Sinister Steal. You definitely want the extra damage that Sinister Steal gives you. You definitely want that Spinnerino. So make sure you get that spin. Other than that, in teamfights, he's okay. Not the biggest threat. He's so easy to kill. Like, he'll have a lot of health, he'll have, you know, a whole lot of shit, he'll have a decent amount of health, but your best course of action is from there. Decide who you want to burst, decide who's the easiest to kill, decide for yourself, okay? So that's really it for Aurelion Sol. Next up is Azir. Azir. Oh boy. Where do we start with Azir? First off, rune page. Same rune page. Nothing different here. Exact same versus AP rune page. And longsword, health pot, and gunblade. So you see, we're always starting the same starting items. We're not changing them. There's no reason to change them because this is the best way to play Katarina, is to have gunblade. It's so good, it's so powerful, there's no reason not to use it. It works well with AD marks, so gunblade is always the best choice as a core item on Katarina. Okay, so that's really your items against Azir. Now, typically against Azir, you want to watch out for his soldiers. He puts them down, tries to poke you on the turret. It's pretty annoying, right? He just, you know, W, Q, basic attack, forces you back. It's so annoying, right? No one likes that. But that's something you're going to have to put up with. He's still manageable. He's incredibly manageable, actually. There are ways to play against that. Let's say he pushes all the way to your turret. He has a minion wave. He's gonna definitely always try to poke at you. He's gonna W, Q, basic attack. He's trying to do that. He's trying to force you away from your minions. Sadly, there's nothing you can do about that. There's nothing you can do against that. It's Azir. His zoning is his power tool, and as Katarina, your main strength is bursting. So that's the upper hand that you have. You need to understand what advantage you have over the Azir, and your advantage is burst. Your burst is so good. You just Shrek him, right? You destroy him. You do a lot of damage. Number one, do not use your ultimate when his ulti is up. Like, that's a complete waste. The Azir is always good Azir players. Okay, good Azir players will always save their ultimate until you press ulti. So it's really that simple. So the one thing you could try to do is, you know, just Q, basic attack, you know, get those basic attacks off, right? Shampoo, basic attack, Q, W, wait for W dagger to land, and then shampoo on the Q, basic attack, walk, basic attack, walk, until he does something. Just look at what he does. This is like an all-in situation, right? See what he does. Now, punishing-wise is tough, right? Because most of the time, he zones you out, and what do? Right, he just zones you out. He has advantage. He has a supreme advantage over you because he consistently zones you out. So how can you punish that? When Azir presses W and Q, forces you back and lowers your health. Meanwhile, he's full health, right? It's very hard to punish that. The one thing is, if he misses the Q, but just hits a basic attack with you from the spear of his soldier, that's when you can do something. That's when you can outtrade him, because you will do more damage to him than he would have done to you, because he missed his Q. His Q does the most amount of damage in his abilities. And he just landed one basic attack, so you're good. In a situation where you can outtrade an Azir, take that chance. Take it. Here, you just shampoo directly on him after he misses the Q. Shampoo on him, basic attack, WQ, get the W spin, get the Q spin, R. Don't always R though, because he has ult. He can actually just push you to his turret. That's not gonna be fun. So try to position yourself to where he cannot ult you to his turret, because then you receive damage and then you're like, oh shit, I put myself in a situation where I can't do shit. I'm screwed. So when you shampoo on the dagger of your Q, you can position directionally on the shampoo. It's a circle. Dagger on the ground is a circle. Put your mouse to where he cannot ult you to his turret. So be careful. Keep in mind, you do get a reset when you pick up the dagger. So even if he does, let's say, ult you away, you can still shampoo on him, but it's a little rough because you have to get around his ult to actually shampoo on him. So it's a little hard. It's a little hard. So you want to be careful. You want to be careful from that. Azir is actually pretty tough. He's okay. But the good thing is, you're Katarina. You have burst, you have good roaming, and you're so strong. And you have higher burst than him by a mile. Like, your burst damage is insanely high. So you want to take advantage of that. You want to take the advantage that you have over him, and that's in terms of burst. He's just super annoying to get at, and that's the thing about him. So you want to be careful from that. Alright, and last but not least, it's Brand. It's going to be our 7th champion counter in this counter series. Against Brand, you want to go for the same runes. Not going to repeat exactly the same runes. And Sword, Hellpack, Gunblade. Same thing. Nothing changed here. After Gunblade, you can go Rylai. Rylai is really good. Abyssal, Priority. You don't need it that badly. It's still good, but I still would go Rylai because it's cheap and it's nice. If I'm snowballing, I go Looted. It's really that simple. It's very, very simple to decide what to buy with Katarina at the moment. Just buy it based on situation. Okay, like I explained earlier, with what you should buy in a certain situation. Now Brand has W. He can W you because it's pretty decent amount of range, so he can punish you for trying to last hit CS. Because that's what most Brand players like to do. Good Brand players. When you're a melee champion like Katarina, when you walk up to last hit a minion with a basic attack, the first thing Brand will do is try to W. So what do? You shampoo on him directly and punish him for that. Or you can shampoo on your minions and back off. You have two options, right? Avoid it and don't punish, or just play aggressive on him, like just all in him. There's pre-level 6 stuff right here, so you want to be careful from that. His poke, just try not to take poke for no reason. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, even if you're trying to last hit a minion, don't take poke for no reason, you know? Try to avoid that. Use shampoo, use the power of shampoo to avoid bullshit. And that's the sweet power of shampoo, is to be able to avoid bullshit, right? So let's say Brand use W. Okay, you punish him for that because W is his main damage spell, right? W is so strong, right? So you go on him. Basic attack here is where you want to back to the right, move to the right, because the first thing he wants to do is EQ you, right? So move to the right, try to avoid that Q skill shot if you can, because here's the thing, most Brand players will not Q you during laning phase unless you play aggressive on them most of the time, or they play aggressive on you. Like when they're pushing wave, they're never going to use Q, ever. They're always going to save it for you when you try to do things, or if they want to aggress. So you want to be careful. That stun is pretty annoying, and then he just presses R and it dances around minions. Oof, that's terrible. So you want to always try to fight him when the minions are not around, so he doesn't get the bounces off. So you want to be careful on that. Try to punish him in those situations where minions are not around, so R doesn't bounce and you take more damage, and then you get the that volcanic spin thing on the ground, damages you even further. Not fun. So you want to deal with that accordingly, right? One thing is, let's say Brand pushes lane all the way to your turret. You're stuck on your turret. He has an advantage there because he can W on the turret and he's safe. But like I said, when people try to punish you and do these things, they're vulnerable to a gank. But it can also tell you that they have an area warded. So if Brand is pushing like that and all the way trying to poke you under your turret, he's vulnerable to a gank, so that leaves him vulnerable to some extent. So he can be punished with that. Let your jungler know if he has flash, if he has his, his summoner spell. Always keep in mind of that. Always tell your teammate the flash timer of Brand, because Brand is very immobile champion. He has no escape ability. All his abilities are damage. That's the one thing to keep in mind. Zero mobility on Brand. Again, you need to know the advantages that you have over Brand. You have so much more mobility than him, and you have really good roaming, and you're so fast, and that's your advantage over him. So use that advantage to outplay him. Use your power of mobility to outplay him, because you're so versatile. You can just jump on daggers everywhere, and he's like, oh, what the hell is going on, right? He just freaks out. But that's only when you kick his ass. Sometimes you can surprise him with damage, and he wouldn't even. He's just like, whoa, what the hell just happened? I got deleted. So things like that. You want to take advantage of these certain situations where you can punish him, like the W scenario I gave you. The R bouncing, that's very crucial. Late game, he's okay. He builds health. Most Brand players would build Rylai and build Liandry, and some build Liandry. They buy health, so you want to be careful from that. Some build MR. You just want to constantly press tab to make sure what they buy. Don't delay Void Staff. Void Staff is a very important item. And really, that's about it. Alright, guys, and that is about it for our counterplay series on how to deal with every champion in League of Legends with Katarina. We're gonna be highlighting, of course, the mid laners. This is episode 1. There's still many more champions to go. There's gonna be like so many episodes for this. There's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot. Just to let y'all know, it has been an hour. It has been over an hour of me recording this. So editing this is probably gonna be a lot of time. So that's about it, y'all. Thank you all so much for watching. Big heart. Big kiss. And I will see y'all on the Rift. Good luck in solo queue.